Hi, good morning or good afternoon. I'm Miss Laura. I'm the visual arts teacher for the Arts Council of Wichita Falls. And today I'm going to be leading you through a project on making a paper crane. So you may or may not have individual instruction sheets with folding instructions on how to make this paper crane. It'll be helpful to have it so that you can better see right up close how to do this project. I'm going to switch over my camera view. So today I'm just starting with a blank sheet of regular computer paper that I need to make into a square. If you already have a square paper, then you're already a step ahead. But I'm going to show you how to make a square from a rectangle first using some scissors and maybe or maybe not a pencil. I'm going to switch my camera view so that you can see my hands. So if you have the instruction sheet, you'll notice at one side there is a diagram with A, B, and C, and this gives you a loose method for making your rectangle into a square that we are going to use. Okay, so I'm starting with a rectangle, again, turning it into a square. I'm going to take one corner of my paper and I'm going to fold it diagonally all the way until I make a nice tight corner over here, and this entire edge meets this edge. So folding diagonally all the way up. And I'm going to give my paper a nice good crease. By running my fingers along this edge. So once I've done this, I need to remove this strip right here. So everything, or every part of this paper that is not included in this first diagonal fold is excess. This part is not our square, and whatever is over here is our square. So if I'm feeling confident, I can just go ahead and grab my scissors and cut this strip off. Or if you have a pencil or pen or writing utensil, you can gently make a line. Oops. Ooh, thanks. Okay. Make a line all the way down and then cut where that line is. Ta-da. I have a square. Once you have a square, you can move on to the actual folding instructions on the instruction sheet, starting with number 1, which is to fold your paper in half diagonally. And if you just made your square from a rectangle, you have already done this. But if you started with a square, go ahead and fold your paper in half diagonally so that you have a nice large triangle. Okay, and that is step number 1. Step number 2, you're going to fold your triangle in half again into a triangle half the size. One more time, starting with my half-page triangle, I'm going to fold in half again to make a smaller triangle. Okay, and I'm going to make sure I'm running my fingers along these folds to make sure that my piece stays flat where I need it to stay flat. Moving on to step number 3. When you hold your paper like this with these 2 flaps at the top and you have your right angle down here, you'll notice that each of these 2 flaps has what essentially is a pocket. Okay, for step number 3, I'm going to place my paper down and I'm going to reach into one of these pockets. I'm going to reach into the pocket and I'm going to open the pocket all the way until it is a square. Okay, so one more time, have my paper flat. I'm going to reach into the pocket from this first uppermost triangle and I'm going to open it all the way into a square. And I want this corner to meet up with this corner here. And I'm going to crease all of these edges, or all of these folds. So now I have a square shape with a triangle on top. Okay, step number 4 and 5. Number 4 is to flip your piece over so that you have a smooth side where you can't see any of the folds. And step number 5 is to repeat what we just did with step number 3, which is to open that pocket all the way until it's a square. So I'm going to lift this triangle portion up. And I'm going to reach into this pocket. And I'm going to open it up all the way until it is a square. So now I'm moving on to step number 6, which is to fold in the side flaps. And I'm going to be careful with number 6, making sure that my paper is facing the right, or in the right orientation. So the top point of my square shouldn't open at all. So all of these folds lead to a point at the top that doesn't open, and that is my top point. I'm going to place that on the table so that it's facing away from me. The bottom corner of my square should be where all of the open flaps are. So again, the open part of your square, or the open corner of your square with all of these flaps, it's going to be facing down and towards you when you lay it on the table in front of you. Okay. So step number 6, I'm going to fold in these 2 side flaps all the way to this middle crease line. So I'm going to start with my right side, again, like kind of like how you would fold a paper airplane. There's one side, I'm going to do the same thing with the other side, folding all the way to that middle crease line. And that's also part of number 7, or I guess there's a second part of number 7, where we grab this top triangle here. Again, once these flaps on top have been folded from the side to the center, we're going to tape what looks like this little triangle part up top here, and we're going to fold that triangle all the way down, so that you have something that looks like a diamond. After you have folded your triangle or your little top triangle down, you're going to unfold your top triangle. And then you're going to unfold these two top right and left flaps so that you are at a square again. Okay, and this next part is a little bit tricky. I'm going to take just the bottom corner of the flap on top, and I'm going to take this bottom corner and I'm going to gently lift up. Again, notice my left hand is just holding the rest of my piece right here at the bottom, and with my right hand I'm grabbing just the bottom corner of that top flap and I'm slowly lifting up. Right. Slowly lifting up until this piece lays flat. And I'm fixing all of these crease lines so that my piece lays flat. I'm just going to do that one more time. Okay, so once I have unfolded the small triangle and these two side flaps, I'm going to just grab the bottom corner of the top flap, and I'm going to hold down the rest of it with my other hand, my left hand finger, and I'm just going to pull this bottom corner all the way until it goes flat. You may need to make sure that these crease lines fold in if it doesn't go easily. Okay. All the way up. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other side. So I'm going to flip my whole piece over. Right now we are on step number 10, which is flipping the piece over. And then we're going to repeat from step number 6 through 9 by repeating the same thing by folding first these two side flaps in towards the center. There's one. And here's the left side. And then I'm going to fold, again, the top little triangle. I'm going to fold that down onto the side flaps. And then I'm going to open up the triangle, the right flap, the left flap, until I have a square again. And then, like the other side, I'm going to grab this bottom corner of the top flap, and I'm going to gently pull all the way up until it lays flat. And we have an elongated diamond shape. Okay, moving on to step number 12. Again, this is where we need to check that our paper is situated in the right orientation. So you may notice that your elongated triangle has two legs, the legs that I'm flapping right now. So these legs when you put your paper down in front of you, these legs should be pointing down and towards you to do step number 12, where we fold in the side flaps again. Okay, so starting with the right side, I'm going to fold in this side flap. And then I'm going to fold in the left side flap. And you'll notice that the paper gets a little bit tougher to fold as we do more folds and it gets thicker. Just try your best. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the exact same thing to the flaps on the other side. So flipping over. And I'm folding in the right flap. And the left flap. So that we now have this long, skinny shape, these two very thin legs. Okay. Now we're going to move on to step number 14 and 15. These two thin legs at the bottom of your piece are going to be the tail and the head of your bird or crane. So we're going to need to fold both of these up. So I'm going to start by pinching the left side of the piece when I hold it flat. And I'm going to open up the right side here. Just open up these two flaps on the right side. And I'm going to fold this first leg, this opened up leg, I'm going to fold it up. And then close the flaps around it. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to pinch with my right hand. I'm going to open up these two side flaps. And I'm going to fold up this leg. And I'm going to pull them out a little bit. Okay, take a minute. So once you have these two legs or points folded up, you are going to decide which point is more beautiful, and that we will make into the head of our bird. So I think this is a nicer looking point. So I'm going to make this my bird head, and all I'm going to do is fold down however much of it I want to be that. I'm using about 3/4 of an inch. That's not, okay. We're basically done at this point. You can fold down the wings if you choose, so the bird can stand on its own. Okay, so congratulations, you are now the proud owner of a bird that you can name, you can draw on, you can fly. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me today, and have a good rest of your day.